The Rangers have obviously not had a good season, and it's clear that selling at the deadline makes sense if they can't turn it around. All the names listed as potential trade candidates are on short-term deals, so the departures wouldn't affect the foundation of the roster. But it also wouldn't be a complete surprise to see Nathan Eovaldi garner some interest. Welcome to the Talkin' Texas Rangers show. I'm your host, Larry Leese. And on today's episode, we're diving into the latest headlines from around the industry. But of course, before we do that, give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button down below. And hit the bell notification button so you don't miss a single episode. And with that, we dive into today's first topic. So the question is, what are the Rangers going to do if Nathan Eovaldi doesn't hit his 2025 vesting option? And there's a scenario you're probably not thinking about. Texas Rangers signed Nathan Eovaldi to a 2-year, $34 million contract just after the 2022 season. The deal included a vesting option for a third season in 2025, and it will kick in if Eovaldi reaches 300 innings pitched across 2023 and 2024 season. However, it looks as though Eovaldi will not hit that mark. He threw 144 innings last season and has thrown 80 this season. Injuries over the last 2 years could ultimately be the deciding factor in whether or not the option is exercised. He needs 76 more innings to hit that mark between Sunday and the conclusion of the regular season. But if he doesn't reach it, the Rangers are going to be faced with a difficult decision when November arrives. So what will the Rangers do with Nathan Eovaldi? Obviously, at that point, Eovaldi will hit the open market again and be a free agent, which could ultimately spell the end of his time with the Rangers. But would the Rangers look to re-sign him immediately? Texas might be smart and try to extend him, even with him approaching his 35th birthday. Although he missed some time last year, he came back strong and helped guide the Rangers through the postseason. He even won the Game 5 clincher of the World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. This season, the 34-year-old right-hander is 5-3 with a .315 ERA and 14 starts. Even as he ages, he remains one of the game's top pitchers and somebody the Rangers can trust in the postseason. But with Texas likely out of contention, 8.5 games behind the final AL wildcard spot, they could look to trade him and capitalize on his value while they still can. Then they can look to bring him back in the offseason, but run themselves at risk of Eovaldi hitting those 76 innings to trigger the vesting option with his new team. If the Rangers were in contention, it would certainly make sense to re-sign him. And the same holds true if he ultimately is not traded. But they could get a haul in exchange for him if they decide to sell at the deadline and make him one of their available assets. This may be their best course of action. They can also let him know that they intend to bring him back for 2025 and beyond if he's moved elsewhere and doesn't hit his innings mark. Either way, there's a situation with Eovaldi at the moment, and the Rangers need to take a stance between now and July 30th. Let me know in the comment section below what you think should happen to Nathan Eovaldi. And with that, we move on to our next topic. Wyatt Langford's month of June has shown why the Rangers were sold on the rookie's potential. The Texas Rangers have gotten a little bit of everything out of Wyatt Langford. It's been a rough season for the Rangers. After winning the World Series, they've fallen on hard times and now own a record of 39-48. And they're falling further and further back in the division and wildcard races. However, despite their struggles, their season hasn't been devoid of some positives. In fact, they've got a lot of contributions from rookie Wyatt Langford. The 22-year-old is hitting at .263 with 4 home runs, 36 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, and a .723 OPS. Last Sunday, he capped off a strong June by hitting for the cycle against the Baltimore Orioles. He made 106 plate appearances in June and had a slash line of .309, .368, .526, with 6 doubles, 3 triples, 3 homers, and was successful in all 6 of his stolen base attempts. This is exactly why the Rangers were so high on Langford heading into the 2024 season, and why, after having just been drafted out of the University of Florida in 2023, is now in the major leagues. Langford was the 4th overall pick in last year's draft. He has quickly risen through the ranks of the Rangers organization while showing star qualities. And though the Rangers may be out of contention at the moment, they at least have more potential success from Langford to look forward to in the years to come after betting on him this spring. He's continued raking in July after his cycle performance and has been one of the few bright spots for the team over the last few weeks. May have been a bit of a slow start for him, but Texas's patience with Langford is now being rewarded. If the Rangers are going to climb back into contention, they are going to need Langford to continue at his torrid pace and repeat what he was able to do in June. But it's now obvious as to why the defending World Series champions were sold on his ability to take the next step in the big leagues. We could be looking at a monstrous second half for the 2022-year-old. And now on to our next topic. Excuse me. The Rangers actually have a perfect reason to sell at the 2024 deadline. After completing an unprecedented run to a World Series title just a season ago, many fans expect the Texas Rangers to be just as exciting in 2024. With a team that most considered to be more complete than the year before, hopes were high in Arlington. It's safe to say this is not what Texas envisioned. This disappointing season, however, could not have come at a better time. What Ranger fans should know is that 2024 was not the last year for their window of contention. They have their roster constructed in such a way that they should be competitive through 2026. Even if they do not make any additional moves, Chris Young and management have set up this roster so well that in the event of a down year, what we've seen so far, they could simply retool and be ready for the next season. Core pieces such as Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Young, Josh Smith, Evan Carter, and Wyatt Langford are not only under team control for at least 2 more years, but also are going to be their prime seasons during this time. At the end of 2026, Heim and Lowe will be 31. Right around that time, they will begin to contribute a bit less. Young and Smith will be 28, with 3 more years of control. Carter and Langford, hopefully on extensions at this point, will still both be under 26 years old. Not to mention Adolis Garcia, whose contract ends in 2025, will be 33 and beginning to feel the wear and tear, but he should still be productive. Young is a mastermind who put this together very carefully. He knows what it takes to bring home a championship. One of those things is young players contributing in an impactful manner. And with Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter both graduating from their title of top prospects, the Rangers' farm system is looking as weak as it has in years. So why not sell some guys? Replenish the farm, maintain a healthy status with the roster. Don't forget Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and Jacob deGrom, and make the future outlook even better. This season was derailed due to injuries from the start. There wasn't much that could have been done. Truthfully, it is a definite need for Texas to trade some of their pieces that are not long-term solutions. Or else they risk watching them leave for nothing. Then, when the time is right again, they can be equipped in the best manner possible for another World Series run. Let me know in the comments section below, what do you think should be done as we head into the second half of the season? And with that, we move on to our next topic. The Rangers' upcoming series against the Angels is their most important of the 2024 season. After just their 3rd series sweep of the season this weekend, the Texas Rangers are traveling to Anaheim to take on the 4th place Angels. With such a competitive league in 2024, there are only as much as 4 and 5 teams that are completely out of the picture, one of which is the Los Angeles Angels. That's why this is the Rangers' most important series of the year. The Rangers, Astros, and Mariners have all had the perfect opportunity to run away with this division all season. However, no team has taken advantage of their struggling counterparts. This has resulted in all 3 teams being within 6 games of each other here in early July. That being said, if the Rangers want any chance at October play, they have to sweep this series to not head into the trade deadline as sellers. Not only is Anaheim already a very subpar team, but Texas is also avoiding the likes of Tyler Anderson and Jose Soriano, both of whom have been their best starters. Not to put too much pressure on this series, but if the Rangers fail to sweep the Angels, Texas will most certainly begin to ship off pieces one by one in hopes of a brighter future. They need to gain as much ground as possible, and anything short of 3 straight wins would feel empty. As for losing the series, it just would make no sense to continue to roster some of the more expensive short-term contracts on the team if that were to happen. Players like Max Scherzer, Michael Lorenzen, Nathan Eovaldi, David Robertson, Kirby Yates, and more are all names that would likely not make it to the end of the season if Texas cannot find a way to go on a semblance of a run. And now on to our next topic. The trade deadline fire sale could be on the way for Texas. It has been a very disappointing season for the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. After winning 90 games last year and going on a magic carpet ride to capture their first ever championship, Texas already appears to be out of contention this season. At 43-48, they're 5.5 games back at first place in the AL West and 7 back in the wildcard race. Hope is not completely lost, but it looks as though they may pivot and focus on 2025 and beyond rather than push all their chips in for a repeat. Thus, a fire sale at the trade deadline is on the table. According to Bob Nightingale, the Rangers are expected to make Scherzer, Robertson, Lorenzen, and Andrew Heaney available in the coming weeks, unless a dramatic turnaround takes place. The Rangers have obviously not had a good season, and it's clear that selling at the deadline makes sense if they can't turn it around. All the names listed as potential trade candidates are on short-term deals, so the departures wouldn't affect the foundation of the roster, but also wouldn't be a complete surprise to see Eovaldi garner some interest. The veteran right-hander and postseason hero is unlikely to hit his vesting option, which we discussed previously, thus making him an intriguing trade candidate as a rental starter for a contending team. Though, both he and Scherzer have no trade clauses in their contracts, which could make things difficult. Robertson is also an interesting trade candidate, as he possesses closing experience that could be valuable for a contending team looking for help at the back end of their bullpen. It's going to take a major league turnaround for the Rangers to be in the mix for a postseason spot and an opportunity to defend their World Series title. So fans might as well brace for a deadline retool with a focus on 2025 if things don't change dramatically over the next couple of weeks. Let me know what you thought on the topics we covered. Is there something we missed? Something we should have covered? Let me know. And of course, if you want to help this channel grow, you can buy us a copy at buymeacoffee.com/TTRangers. Your support helps this channel grow, upgrade our equipment, bring in new hosts, and be able to take this show on the road. And as always, you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms, GoodPod, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search the Talkin' Texas Rangers podcast. Once again, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.